all the greatest teachers of all time, they used questions to teach the student because questions engage the brain in a different way. And so instead of asking this middle of funnel lead, they're on Google, homes for sale in Virginia Beach. Instead of calling them and saying, what kind of home do you want? Have you been pre-approved? Do you have an agent? All very certainty-based questions.
Yeah.
If you just change the questions, so instead of saying, what kind of home do you want? Hey, I know you don't know what you want yet. Tell me what you don't want to happen again. Tell me what you don't like about where you live right now, right? I'm giving them an opportunity to have certainty. And people pay therapists a lot of money to lead them down the path of self-awareness. Like, that's a very valuable conversation. And when I'm able to say to a prospect that says, I'll call you when I'm ready, and I say, no, I hear you. Yeah, I'm glad that you're not ready. I love talking to people that aren't ready. Let me ask you, what do you want to change about where you live? Well, I don't have a yard. I want a yard. Now I have a moment to be authentic.
Hey, Jack Lehr down in Lehr's Lair. So I'm excited to have this gentleman here. He's got this best-selling book. It's killing it. Another one probably on the way. I'm excited to introduce you to Barry Jenkins. Welcome, Barry.
Hey, super honored to be here, Jack. Thank you so much. Really excited to expand on some of our other discussions about life and business and everything in between.
Excellent. And so Barry has this book out called Too Nice for Sales, correct? And it's it's like on the Amazon top 20, top 10.
Yeah, it hovers top 10, top 20, and it's a year old as of this month, and was really just a pet project. I didn't learn what a noun was until I was in my 20s, so it's hilarious that I'm a published author. But I wrote the book how I talk. It was just authentically me, and I told my story about going from losing everything when the market crashed in 2008 to building one of the top teams in America.
Wow. And so it's top real estate teams in America, and you're based in Virginia Beach, correct?
That's correct. Yeah, we went from 60 agents last year, and we just purchased another nearby brokerage. So we're right at 100 agents now. We normally do around 800 sales a year, should be around 1,000 this year, I would expect, with the new agent.
Nice. So that's a lot of volume. Yeah. So we'll get into that in just a tad bit, but like a little bit about the background about Barry and that book. Your book probably shares a little bit about that, and we were fortunate enough to chat a little bit too. So, how did Barry come into this world?
Yeah, so I actually was selling shoes and right out of high school, and somebody was crazy enough to give me a line of credit for I think it was $100,000, and they said you can buy the house, you can renovate it, but I got to get my money, a balloon payment of like $90,000 at the end of 12 months, and I took the opportunity, made more money off of that one at 18 than I would have in 2 years selling shoes, and so I got my license and never looked back, man. So it's been I started when I was 18. I'm 42 now, so I don't know what the math is there, but it's like a long time.
Like hundreds of years in the business. I love this.
Might as well be.
That's the small math. We like counting 1,000 transactions a year. The small math, 42 minus 18. I don't know. It's something like, whatever.
Yeah.
We have a lot of fun with that. Sarah busts my chops all the time. She goes, yeah, you're really good at the big numbers, but like the small, like you go 1, 2, 7, 8, like you forget a few here and there. So anyway, so Barry,
we love you anyway.
You got into it at age 18. Were you a single agent at that time?
Yeah. I actually did not sell a house my first year in the business. Really struggled to figure it all out. By the time 2008 came, I had built a solid referral business, magazines and things like that. But when the market crashed, I waited a year for things to go back to normal. And they never did. And so I racked up. At the time, now it's a small number, but at the time it was a lot. It was like $50,000 buying groceries on credit cards, gasoline, basic life stuff.
Yeah.
And so I had to get a lot of other sales jobs to support my real estate habit. And so I sold insurance. I sold steel buildings over the phone, which I don't know if you've ever sold a $30,000 garage over the phone with a high level of urgency, but it's rough. And so those years of having to learn how to manipulate, to lie, to cheat, and I was the top salesman selling these steel buildings, creating false urgency. Oh, the building fell off the back of the truck and we've got extra parts, that whole shtick. And I got good at it. And I had kind of this ethical, I didn't like who I was. But it bothered me that doing the wrong thing worked so well. And so that actually is the premise of the book. That's why the subtitle is A Practical Guide to Ethical Lead Conversion. Learning how to serve people, come from a really good place and crush it in sales is really what the book is all about.
Yeah. And I'm going to fast forward a little bit because not that long ago, I was out in Las Vegas and got that was the first time that I got to actually meet Barry face to face. We were there for a dinner and we were just hanging out with the 𝐦𝐸 folks, I believe, correct?
Yep. Yeah.
And Barry got stuck down at the end of the table next to Sarah and myself, poor guy. But just having some really authentic conversations and just realize that, again, let's fast forward from 2008 when you thought you had to lie, steal, cheat, and hide, or whatever you had to do in order to be successful in sales. The heart was shining through massively, and I was blessed to be by this gentleman that I think there's a true deepness to this, to Barry, and like the heart's pure. This certainly, at least that's the way. That was my interpretation. That was Sarah's interpretation.
Wow.
Probably a godly man that just really it shined through heavily. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I am. Yeah, that's that comes out subtly. I don't push my faith down anybody's throat or anything like that, but I do share candidly. This is why I do what I do. This is just a part of who I am. And to be candid with you, people from other faiths have actually come to me after reading the book, and they said they really appreciated the ability to learn about who I am without feeling like I'm trying to impose who I am. I really enjoy being with and working with people that are different than me. I celebrate that. I'm glad that you picked up on it, because that's something that's really important to me.
That was the biggest thing. Like, I knew this guy, I knew of Barry and like being a guru within the 𝐦𝐸 world. And we'll talk about that a little bit. That's everything from lead generation to website within the real estate world that we're both involved with. But I think that, again, just sitting there and having these conversations about, health. We were talking a little bit about health. We're talking about getting in better shape and some stuff that you can certainly get into if you want to, but we're both familiar with a lot of this of similar things that can help you get there. So, yeah. No, absolutely. And the thing for me is, my nice disposition had an error to it. And the error was that I was too focused on making everyone happy. And, that's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's hard to be a good leader. And as a salesperson, we're leaders. Like we have this stranger on the phone that doesn't know about real estate as much as we do. And if we just want to make them happy, we're going to feel the energy they want to get off the phone. And so what we do is we say something really lame like, well, do you mind if I email you in a few months and touch base? And they say, sure. And the person never answers the phone again. And it's because we were so focused on making them happy that we became worthless. We didn't provide any value to this person considering making the largest financial transaction of their life. And so for me, nobody taught me how to overcome objections. I didn't take sales courses. I have a teacher's heart. I'm passionate about empowering others to learn. And that's one of the reasons why I wrote the book. Well, when you're talking to a prospect and they say, I'm waiting a year. Well, the nice person will say something like, in their head, well, I don't want to be one of those pushy salespersons. So I'm just going to say, okay, instead of saying something like, how did you decide you're waiting a year? So the thing is, if I'm just focused on pleasing others,
I've accidentally become super selfish because I'm motivated by gaining the approval of this stranger. It's my emotional need to feel accepted. And I'm motivated by that. And I lie to myself and say, well, I don't want to be pushy. When I'm actually, the purpose of the book is to call out and say, look, if you really are focused on this other person and they say something that's an error, you owe it to this stranger to say, I hear you, I understand why you believe that. I owe it to you to tell you why you're wrong and what you should be doing. Nice people don't have this conversation. Nice people rush off the phone because they're too consumed with pleasing the stranger on the other end of the phone. And candidly, it's not fair to these strangers. I notice I'm not calling them leads because they're humans and they don't know who I am. And I'm trying to, like, it's almost like you're in high school again, trying to sit at the cool table, right? Instead of saying, this person is making a mistake. And so I would get a Zillow lead on the phone in 2012, and they would say, yeah, I'm in the military, I'm saving up 20% down. And I would say, did anybody tell you about VA eligibility? No. Okay, well, man, look, I'm not trying to push you into anything, but I need you to understand you're making a massive mistake not leveraging your VA eligibility. Now, this is an easy example, okay? Like, granted,
Right. Yeah.
but at the same time, nice people aren't doing this. They're not, they're just like, do you want to buy? And so then we are limited. When I say we, nice people that are too motivated on being nice and pleasing others, we are limited to only working with leads that know exactly what they want. So instead of being a leader and a guide, we are an order taker. Look, being a waiter or waitress, it's a respectable way to make a living. But the problem that you're solving when you do that is, would you like fries with that? Would you like a drink? It's very transactional. Oh, you want to buy a home? Do you want to go this weekend? Great, I'll meet you at 3. And those are the only leads we're good at. But then as soon as the lead says they're not sure, I'll call you when I'm ready, we fall like a house of cards. And the only not only people, but if I was to generalize, people that have learned how to not care, buy or die, I could care less what they think of me, they're being the leaders for themselves. And it's like, I really want this large, I would say 75% of agents fit into the category that I'm going over, this massively large category of salespeople that aren't making a lot of money. And it's almost like bringing awareness to the fact that they are self-consumed and they're lying to themselves by not having courageous conversations with these strangers.
And Barry, that's beautifully put. Really a little bit different perspective, and it really helped me what you just shared with us. So I'm Sandler sales trained for the last 15 to 17 years. Going on 17 years now. And it's a system process, and it's having strong upfront conversations to determine if we're a good fit or not, and having those difficult, not taking Wimp Junction conversations. And I think, like, a lot of us, and use the word sales people. And I think it's used very loosely in our profession of realtors that have a license to potentially become a sales professional. And that 75 to 80% that just easily gets sold on somebody else's objection, it costs our future. It costs our family's future by easily getting sold by being too nice and saying, oh my gosh, yeah, I'm going to put my business card and I'm going to send it in the mail to you. And I'll try to call you in a year. Holy moly. And again, if you have true sales professionals working those opportunities, we call them suspects before they become prospects, before they become potentially clients. Okay. A client is when the cash, when it gets, the check clears the bank at the end of the transaction. That's a client in our world. So we have these suspects that come into our world, right? And I think the interesting thing that you just shared, that again, so many people easily get sold, and you're having conversations with top of the funnel, mid funnel, bottom of the funnel. Sometimes a Zillow lead, they're ready to buy, and you become that order taker.
Yeah, those are great. I love those. Why not?
Yeah.
But there's just not a lot of them, right? And there's compression because now that big tech has figured out they can make more money. And I'm not mad at Zillow or Realtor.com for doing this. I wish I would have thought of it. They're giving those leads out at a 30 to 40% referral fee because they can make more. And so it puts the agent in a transactional mindset hamster wheel, and you want leads from Google, but literally most leads from Google and Facebook start the conversation with, I don't know what I want yet. I'll call you when I'm ready. So all we need to do to change this entire environment is ask better questions. It's called the Socratic method of teaching. Socrates, Jesus, all the greatest teachers of all time, they used questions to teach the student because questions engage the brain in a different way. And so instead of asking this middle of funnel lead, they're on Google, homes for sale in Virginia Beach. Instead of calling them and saying, what kind of home do you want? Have you been pre-approved? Do you have an agent? All very certainty-based questions.
Yeah.
If you just change the questions, so instead of saying, what kind of home do you want? Hey, I know you don't know what you want yet. Tell me what you don't want to happen again. Tell me what you don't like about where you live right now, right? I'm giving them an opportunity to have certainty. And people pay therapists a lot of money to lead them down the path of self-awareness. Like, that's a very valuable conversation. And when I'm able to say to a prospect that says, I'll call you when I'm ready, and I say, no, I hear you. Yeah, I'm glad that you're not ready. I love talking to people that aren't ready. Let me ask you, what do you want to change about where you live? Well, I don't have a yard. I want a yard. Now I have a moment to be authentic. I love backyards as well. I've got 3 kids, dogs, yada, yada. Why do you want a backyard?
Yeah.
You compare this to like the fake friends that salespeople or real estate or realtors. Oh my gosh, you shop at the same grocery store as me? That's crazy. Wow, like we should hang out. It's so lame. And the lead on the other end of the phone is like, I don't have time for my real friends. Why do I want to make fake friends with the realtor? It just doesn't. So when you're asking these questions and you're surfacing and you're leading them, you have an opportunity to be an authentic human. And as I say in the book, I think authenticity is the most compelling sales demeanor of anything you could have. If you're authentic, it resonates with society because there's not a lot of them out there. And so to be able to have this, and the cool thing about real estate, we're not selling vacuum cleaners. It's a very personal, it's where you feel safe at night. It's where you raise your children. Yeah. There's just a lot there. And so you can have this authentic connection just by using questions that are Socratic in nature to surface opportunities.
Oh my gosh. Again, I hope everybody just absorb that, please, because that right there was just like gold. The diamonds are in your backyard, brother, and it's right there for you. And having those curiosity-based conversations to get focused on them, not the house that they're inquiring about. Like, we get so focused when we get a lead. And I don't mind sharing, like, our magic sauce is on lead generation is dynamic PPC ads, where somebody sees an address, they type it in. We're showing up above Zillow and Realtor.com and close to Homes.com, like crazy. So they're actually going and registering on our website. And guess what? We're doing it for $5.66 per registered lead. Nobody's
That's
touching
incredible.
those numbers, crazy low. But guess what? They typed in that address. Rarely are they buying that home that they typed in the address, because they might see the photos of that home and say, "Oh my gosh, that looks horrible," or "Oh my gosh, it looks great." And they get there and they go, "We need to focus on the client."
Yeah. Well, and keep in mind, like, if I'm this overly nice person, I'm waiting to be told what to do. Hi, I saw you registered on 123 Smith Street. I wanted to see if you wanted to go see it. Oh, you're not sure? You're not? Okay, well, how about I email you some information and, we'll stay in contact. Okay, great. And it's so lame. Like, it doesn't work.
Bye-bye.
And it's actually not valuable at all. It is of zero worth to the prospect. And that's why they never answer anymore. And we blame the leads. I want everybody that's listening right now to understand something. I'm making almost all my money off of leads that start the conversation with, "I'm not sure, I'm not ready, I'll call you when I'm ready." That is my cash cow, because I'm glad they're not ready. And what I tell people is, leads from Google and Facebook, on average, if you're going to wait for the lead to figure it all out on their own, they're probably going to take 9 months to 12 months. However, if you ask really good questions, right? What do you want to change about where you live? Have you had a chance to look at homes with another agent? That's way better than do you have an agent. Do you have a friend in the mortgage business? Yes, no, doesn't matter. Well, let me tell you why I'm asking. You shouldn't be guessing. So when I start asking these questions, I'm hoping to surface one of four things: ignorance, fear, confusion, misinformation. One of those, okay? When I surface that, that is my moment to be instantly valuable to the prospect. 9 times out of 10, when they say they're a year out, I just want you to use the phrase, what or how? How did you decide you're waiting a year? They almost never have a plan, ever. And they're like, oh, I'm not really sure. I just know that I'm a ways out. Perfect. I'm so glad to hear that. Here's what I've done with my other clients. We need to meet at my office. We need to review the process. I'm in the empowerment business. I want to give you clarity and empowerment. This is too big of a transaction for you to meander through and guess for a year. When you do this, guys, you're solving their actual problem. You're meeting with them and talking to them. And yes, for 5 minutes, you are scared out of your mind. But there's a misnomer here. People think courageous people aren't afraid. And that is actually not true. You only need courage when you do something while you are afraid. Oh, you're afraid to talk to strangers about real estate? Do it anyway. That's when you need courage. And when they tell you they don't need help, just say, great. Tell me how you decided you don't need any help. And they'll just be like, I don't know. Perfect. You have no idea. We need to meet. Rinse and repeat. This scales. And then you just turn up the dials because there's plenty of traffic on Google and Facebook. This is life-changing stuff.
I mean, you hit so much just there, and it's funny because we do promos, and Shane's out here, and I'm giving the thumbs up, saying capture that because that's beautiful stuff. It's complex but super simple. Okay, it is complex if you see it as complex, but it is super simple stuff when you get focused on them and understanding that. So we in this lead generation world. We hear these things like, oh, a Facebook ad is, that's typically a year out. Oh, a PPC ad, it's 6 to 12 months out, or whatever that sounds like. Okay, let's talk about the people that go to car lots on Sundays. If Jack's at a car lot on a Sunday, it's number one, I don't want to be bothered, and I want to buy something.
Yeah. Because that's literally when I shop for a car, is on Sundays.
There you go. And then I go on Monday and buy the damn thing. Okay.
That's exactly what I did. I took 2 pictures, went home and thought about it. And the next morning I went to the lot and said, I want that one, please.
So if I went there on a Saturday and I got approached by an unqualified sales professional that I don't want to be bothered with, that's going to give me a bunch of misinformation, because the information's available online, just like Zillow, all these other portals, your 𝐦𝐤𝐿opo website. We all have these IDX sites. It's available to us. And you go in there and you say, oh my gosh, listen, I'm a quick decision maker. I want to go do it, but I don't want to be bothered. And if nobody's going to bring value alongside of it, please stay out of my way while I go by. And that's the thing. We don't bring value in these conversations. And you alluded to it when you said, bring value. Stop just going, hey, again, this is the most frustrating stuff ever. And again, when we bring new folks on our team, we're Zillow Flex, and we get to listen to all the conversations. And hey, I was just thinking about you, and it made me. Hey, I have some information here that you might have been searching on our website. I mean, freaking A, the foolishness that you get to hear, and then you get to go back and teach and train up, right? But it's maddening to hear these types of conversations that other salespeople have taught us to do incorrectly from a broken system.
Right. Exactly. And I think, I think we're just, we're waiting. So the whole, hey, touching base, checking in, like, let me rephrase that. I'm calling to see if you're ready to tell me what to do. That's what you're doing when you do that. You are hoping that they're going to say, yes, please do X, Y, and Z. They think, guys, that the consumer really believes they need to dot their I's and cross their T's. They need to figure out school zones, price ranges, crime rates, neighborhoods. They think they need to do all that on their own. And then when it's time to order the door to be opened, then they say, please, agent, open the door at 11 o'clock tomorrow. And we are falling right into that. We're like, okay, call me when you're ready to place an order. And I'm using that phrase on purpose because it's really what's going on.
It's happening.
Whereas, yeah, it's the current status of our industry. And so what we have to do is we have to recognize, sorry, I've got how dare a lead try to call me when I'm just kidding.
Let's take it.
So, no, it's okay. But, asking these questions and surfacing one of those four things that I said, and then there's a moment where they need you to take on that role of a leader. And so I challenge this nice person that has been so consumed with pleasing the stranger to get the stranger to like me, right? Now I have to care so much for this stranger and have what I believe to be a clear directive of what I believe to be the next step. And the phrase I like to use is, in my professional opinion, and based on you seem like a lot of other clients that I've worked with, here's what we need to do next. And you start prescribing next steps, right? There's a reason the doctor, when you walk in, doesn't say like, hey, good to see you, Jack. What kind of medicine would you like today? Right? Like, it doesn't work that way. You go in and discuss, and they ask questions, and then they prescribe things. And for us, we need to take on that same demeanor. These people need our leadership, and we're just too afraid, and we're waiting to be told what to do every day. Let me tell you something too, Jack. When a nice person that is motivated by service, like they actually have a servant's heart, when they get a hold of this, because I've got 100 of them in my office right now, when they get a hold of this concept, they cannot be matched in sales volume and sales numbers. They crush the calloused, cold, mean, careless salesperson 9 times out of 10, because love and true desire to serve others is a much more compelling force than selfishness.
Yeah, and we got to just remember, like, we call it driving the transaction home. They're looking for you to be that leader, the driver, the pilot. They can be the co-pilot.
Yeah,
you have to explain what that looks like, but man, they're looking.
Right.
I always go back to the because I'm not a licensed agent. I'm the CEO of our company, real estate investor. Have some pretty successful sales teams, and what you get caught up in. We get so caught up in just trying to please and keep everybody super happy and not driving it to the finish line. Okay. Because people listen, when they go to Barry and it's a Zillow lead, Zillow is expecting this licensed professional to help them get success in the transaction. And Barry, if I'm not mistaken, you have a fiduciary responsibility to your client. People forget that fiduciary responsibility is, I came to you to purchase a home or sell my home, and I'm looking for guidance to get there. And that comes into play here.
Right. Well, no, it does. But that's not what we're motivated by. We're motivated by a desire to just kind of make everybody happy. And we think that somehow doing that is the right way. And we lie to ourselves. And I mentioned this before, and we say things to ourselves. Well, I don't want to be one of those pushy salespeople. And you have no value at that moment. You're not a leader, you're a follower, and you care too much what people think about you. And this is why my next book will be out next year. It's Too Nice for Leadership, because there's so many ways I've failed as a leader over the last 20 years. And by incorrectly focusing on making people happy, making sure they like what I say or like what I do, instead of doing what I know is right. And so people, I don't know about you, but when I'm in an environment, when I'm looking to purchase and I'm ready to start talking seriously about it, dealing with a professional that can provide clear direction is refreshing, right? Like, I bought a TV a few years ago, and I was at Best Buy, and man, the guy was just geeking out over the different TVs. He was like so stoked about the different features, and I was just like, yeah, just let's go. Tell me more. Like, I want to hear about it. Like, what else should I not? What do I not know about these that I should know? Because it's nice. Like, they're helpful and giving direction, and we need to be doing that same thing. in the real estate world. And so when the lead says to you, they don't know what they want, please try to care enough to ask them some questions. Come from curiosity. Say things like, oh, that's interesting. Tell me more about that. How did you decide that, right? What factors did you consider when you were making that decision? That's interesting. Okay, well, here's what we need to do next. And then once you collect all these humans, let's say you got 20 humans that you've labeled hot, warm, and cold.
Yeah.
Now you have to decide how often you're going to contact these people, right? And you can only do this once, checking in, seeing how the process is going, right? They won't answer the phone anymore. I'm grown. I don't want to be checked on by a stranger. Like, leave me alone, okay? Like, I don't want to be checked on. And so instead of checking on them, what you do is you say, hey, I saw this blog, or I saw an open house, or I got a buyer's guide. I thought about you. Would you like me to text or email it? Right? And then they tell you, they'll probably never read it, by the way, but they will remember that you asked and that you sent them something. And then you can do while I've got you. And now you can talk about the search. I've been thinking about what you've been looking for, and I wanted to talk to you a little bit more about that. It hits different. Mm-hmm. It's because now it's not a self-interested follow-up. It's actually an empowering follow-up that feels much more organic. And this works. Now with seller leads, I would say that the problem we have is, as agents, is we love seller leads. We love them as agents. And we call, did you want your home value? Can I do a walkthrough, right? The problem is there's no dopamine if you're not an investor. If you live in the house, there's no pleasure in thinking about the process of selling your home. The pleasure is in focusing on where you're going next, right? And so the way that you can get a seller lead to want to talk to you is to focus on what they are excited about, which is their next adventure. And I changed the funnel for 𝐦𝐤𝐤. 11% of our buyer leads would say, yes, they need to sell before they buy. No, 9%. And so I went to G, the co-founder of 𝐦𝐤𝐤, and I said, hey, the 89% of people, so it was 11%, 89% of people that said no to that first question, no, they don't need to sell before they buy. I want to do a second question to those 89% that say no. I want to talk about buying, but I want to do it in a way that surfaces an opportunity to sell. And so what we did is we said, do you plan? So all the people that said no, do you plan on using the equity from the sale of your home as a down payment for your purchase? Do you believe? It's remarkable. 37% said yes and gave us their home address. Because I'm focused on what the seller wants, which is buying, but I was able to surface an opportunity to find out that they have a home to sell. And so now I can say, where do you want to go? When do you want to move? Okay, I'm sure you're stressed out about it, but there's a way to actually sell your home and buy the next one. I'm excellent at it. I want to sit down with you and go over the process. This is how you convert a seller lead that just came in that told you they're a year out. This is how you can convert them in 90 days or less, because you're going to make it super easy for them. And it's all in just getting in the mind of the consumer and understanding and having enough courage to give them leadership and direction.
They do it for their reasons, not ours. And I think the big thing is like that seller lead potential. It's a homeowner. And think about this, Barry. They come into your world and you're so excited about listing their home. And they don't have it. They have excitement about maybe moving to their next home, or they have a need to move to the next home. Right. And we get so focused on selling their home and listing their home and giving them values and tell them their equity. And that's not the compelling reason. That's not their compelling reason. That's our compelling reason.
Right. That's what gives us dopamine hits. It's pleasurable for us. We're excited about it. And, that we jokingly call it retail therapy, right? Like when so I'm a techie guy. So if I'm getting a new phone or a new tablet, one of the things I'll do is I'll go on Amazon and look at all the accessories and read the reviews, right? And oh, okay, because I enjoy it. And so we're too focused on what we want when it comes to seller leads, instead of recognizing that these people, who wants to keep their house clean for 3 months straight while they're trying to sell the home and it's under contract? If you've got kids, that is not like, I'm stressed out about that, just thinking about it. Like, that's just not. And so allowing them to dream and being a part of their journey is what they need from us. And I can tell you this, the way that the industry is going, I will not be surprised based off of like, for example, I'll use one example. Zillow's earning call, they said they're putting all their chips into the basket of a super app where they're kind of controlling the consumer's journey from start to finish. I would not be surprised if they've relegated the role of an agent to where you say, okay, I want to see this home. I'm pre-approved now. See it tomorrow at 2:00. They click a button, they send it out to their network, and whichever agent picks it up gets maybe $300 or $400 to open the door. Then they go back to the mobile app to finish their transaction. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but I'm not surprised. But if I'm already talking to them and teaching them, if I've become their teacher, which is really what this is all about, they value me as a source of information, they're never going to get to that app, because by the time they're transaction ready, I've raised them up on my own.
Yeah. And to think about those IDX sites, the Zillows, the Realtor.coms, or any other large portal or any portal out there, that information is so instant. I can go there and do a search and it pops up. We can't beat Zillow in that. We can't beat IDX sites or other people's platforms. But where you can beat them is the relationships and getting focused on helping them and guiding them through this process. That's the difference, because there are apps where you can buy a house right now.
There are.
You can list your home for $399. There's always these subsets and disruptors out there. My gosh, but there's so many people that actually are looking for that relationship, and somebody's going to help them and truly be there and bring value all the way through. That I think there'll always be a place for that, and there'll certainly be disruptors in our industry.
Oh, sure, 100%. And listen, we used to be the keeper of the flame. Like, we had an MLS book, and it's like, well, maybe I'm going to show you the listings, maybe I won't, right? And we had it walled, and okay, so those days are gone. We don't need to waste time talking about it. It's over. Now they don't need us for information. They need us because they have too much information, and they need you to distill it in a way that's easy to learn and clear direction. Okay, so this is what they need from us. And now let's backtrack to the beginning of our conversation, Jack. I'm calling them and they're saying they're a year out, right? Or they're telling me I'm a year out. And you guys are all saying, okay, I'll call you in a year. And so you are squandering the opportunity to become valuable when you actually can gain them as a client. And you're waiting until the very end to pay 10x more money for the person when they're transaction ready. And it's just a really faulty business plan. It doesn't scale really well. In 2016, I was spending $100,000 a month on Zillow. Our average sales price in my market was $225,000. The average cost per lead for me hovered around $400. Everybody in my organization made money except for me. My lender, my broker, my agents, my home inspector, Zillow. I spent over $1 million. My net was 50 grand. That is why in 2016, I said, I'm not mad at Zillow, but I got to figure out how to make a profit. So I shifted my focus to Facebook and Google. And that's actually what started this journey for me of middle of funnel lead conversion.
Yeah. And just think about it. You go into a store and somebody comes to you and says, hey, Barry, can I help you with something? What do we always say? Just looking.
Nope. Just looking. Yep.
Just looking, right? Just looking. Just looking is get the hell away from me, because you know what? Every other salesperson has proven to me that you're going to be worthless in this transaction. And we got to do something to separate ourselves. I would like to get in a little bit here on 𝐦𝐿opo. So you're this massive guru within 𝐦𝐿opo and the other tech stack that and there's some folks that are part of 𝐦𝐿opo that watch this, and some people have, what's 𝐦𝐿opo? Monopoly spelled backwards, but it's an incredible tech of a website lead generation.
So I actually, when I pivoted off of Zillow in 2016, I bought 𝐦𝐿opo as a customer, just like everybody else. And my team did really well, really quickly. It caught the attention of the owners. Within 9 months, I had a senior executive role in 2016. I still have it. I helped them make the product. I helped them design it and architect it. And then we tested on my team, and I provide them a feedback loop. And then I also help run the training, so the curriculums, We're doing 3 conferences this year. I'm doing all the curriculum for that. People ask me all the time, I'm going to get emotional thinking about it. I had a very successful real estate business in 2016, and they ask me all the time why I would make such a quick pivot, because I effectively took on a role at a technology company and I had to promote myself to more of a CEO in my real estate business. And if you've ever watched Shark Tank, they don't invest in products, they invest in people. And I just knew Howard and G, they were different. They thought differently. They had past performance. This isn't their first rodeo. And I said, I think this is one of those things that people talk about where they hooked up their wagon and it went to the moon. And it has, and it is, and it continues to do so. And we're not done. And it's been an amazing, 8 years now? No, 7 years. Changed my life. It really did.
I love it. So the best part about 𝐦𝐸, you coming in there and being a part of helping them to grow. But let's talk about practical ways in 𝐸, if you're using them. What should somebody be doing other than these great conversations and not realizing and getting easily sold on somebody else's BS?
Yeah, absolutely. So actually, there's 3 of the top teams in America that, on the Real Trends, that are 𝐸 customers that needed to revamp things. They were getting leads from other places, but the ROI wasn't as good as it used to be. And they said, Barry, we really want you to dial it down. So I'm going to give you a 3-minute overview of what I did.
Yep.
I went to the team and I said, give me 3 to 5 salespeople that come to all your meetings. They work hard. They're professional. They just don't sell anything. I need you to give them to me. Don't allow them to get Zillow leads. I don't want them around your top performers. I want to sequester them and teach them how to have the conversations you and I've already discussed. Then what we did is we created some lists. The first list was new leads. That's going to be obvious, 30 days or less, haven't called recently. But then where the real money is the second list. And the second list is all of the old unconverted leads in your database that fit 2 criteria. Recently active on your website. So you could do last 7 days, 14, 30 days, depending on how many people you're remarketing to. And then 𝐸 adds tags when the lead does something important, like why priority is 30 different behaviors. Hand raiser, they're saying, show me, can you come over and list my house? Can you show my home? Something like that. So right now I've got 14,000 leads that are unconverted in my CRM that are all unconverted, old, and they have one of those tags. And then I filter it and I say, show me everybody that's been on my website in the last 7 days that we haven't called in the last 2. Right now, I think I've got 1,100 people that have recently been on my website that we haven't talked to. My agents call through those lists. And the cool thing about filtering for the last time we tried to call is as they're trying to reach them, the names disappear because, we just tried to reach them. Without fail, everyone that I've done this with, every single time, is now, one in particular, Mark Z in Detroit, consistently on the top 10. He just texted me yesterday. He said, bro, if you know Mark, he's just a big bro, 5 to 10 hot leads a day from the second list. We're transferring them to our agents. This is insane. The only thing better than a new lead is an old lead that still doesn't know what they want and they're on your website. And so for me, I can get an old lead to come back to my website, in this environment, for about $1 per person, per event. That's the way the math works out for me. That's a far cry from $400 an opportunity. Yeah. Now I'm at $1. And here's the script we use. Been in our system a while. We're cleaning up our database. We were going to archive you, but didn't see in the notes if you ever found the home. We figured we'd check. 1/3 of the time the person answers the phone in that scenario, it is an appointment for us. We personify a receptionist. Hey, this is Barry, Better Homes and Gardens. Sorry to bug you. Cleaning up my database. Just wanted to see, did you ever find a house? Because I was going to archive it, but I didn't see in the notes. They say, they're still looking. It's been 4 years. What's going on? They tell us their story, and we say, we need to meet, or you need to meet with our lender. This is ridiculous. We need to get you straight. You should not have been looking this long. And so now I have 246,000 leads in my follow-up boss. I started with 6 when I came to 𝐦𝐨𝐿 in 2016, 6,000. And now I've got about 250,000 because I went gangbuster on this. And I'm going to continue to do that because I can see the value in building a massive database. I don't know if I answered your question or not, but
I think you did.
That's
like
what
you,
we're doing.
So there's gold and diamonds in our database, and you're able to flush it out by using those tags. And again, Barry, I know we have a short time here today. I'm just super grateful that you took the time to join me here today. There was a lot of great information on the sales side. Please go out and buy Barry's book. And Barry, what is the name of your book again?
Oh, thanks, man. It's called Two Nights for Sales, TOO Nights for Sales. Yep, Two Nights for Sales. And it's on Amazon, Audible, Kindle, all that good stuff. Yeah.
Well, good. I'd love to invite you into one of our team meetings and help us go to that top 3 level on real trends.
You name the time and I'll be there, Jack.
We're getting there, brother. So again, if this resonated with you, it helped you, please like, subscribe. Please follow Barry Jenkins. Man, his heart shines through, and the things that he's doing with his team and growing his business. I'm just super grateful that you joined us here today. Thank you, Barry.
Yeah, absolutely. And they can contact me at Instagram, Real Barry Jenkins.
Very good. We'll have all that on there for you. So Barry, you make your day great, and y'all out there, thank you.
Thanks, Jack.